doing it for training our staff with IDP or whether you are doing the regular courses, is to back up and restore the original file. So that one saves a lot of time because we have found out that many of our lecturers, they will create everything from de novo. Everything is created all over again. So what we do is, I will give you an example of how you actually back up. So if I want to back up, for instance, another course into this, I will actually go to one of my older courses. For example, we did a training yesterday over here. Okay. Now this is a course which I want to back up in today's course. Okay. Now what you do is you turn your editing button on first, and then you go down to the bottom, and then you click on this backup button. Okay, you'll see it. Okay, I'm showing you the admin blocks, but you will see the block over there, down there, below your, if you're using a desktop version, you will see the blocks at the bottom of the screen. If you're using your handphone or your tablet, it may come at the side, or it will be a small dot at the top, a three icon at the top, and then you can click on the icon and do this procedure. So what you need to do is you need to back up your course first. So at the end of each semester, once you have completed all the 14 weeks, just before your exam, usually you will back up your course. Okay, so I'm going to click on the backup button. Now, when you have the backup button, it will include all content or only the content which you want to transfer. For example, in this set of backup, you have the enrolled users. So usually we don't want the enrolled users carried forward into the next course. We don't want all the grades and everything related to that to be included in the next course. So what we do, we click on this. So if we include, you'll see everything coming up, Western Bank and so on and so forth. If you exclude, you will see this. So the remainder of the content will not be carried forward and it won't disrupt your grade book. So what you do is you go to next. It'll ask you what you want here. So you can actually click on certain things and take them off. For example, you don't want to have announcements, you take this off because you'll obviously create new announcements. You don't want the icebreaker chat room, you can take this off as well. And the rest you can leave it there. Okay, so this one I'm going to just tick off all the other things because this is just a demo for you. So I'm going to tick off all the other weeks. Okay, so that's what we do it. Okay, now you have your next, and it'll ask you for one last time to verify everything, and then it says perform backup. Okay, you'll see it over here in the side, perform backup. Now once you perform backup, it creates a file which Moodle will recognize. So Moodle will recognize that particular file. Okay, and the file is actually stored here. You can see I backed up many courses as part of the training. This one is actually here, backup Moodle and IPB Roadshow, etc. And it's on backed up today. Okay, so if you have a problem with identifying which is the backup file, you just look at the history. In any instance, the backup file is stored by JTMK in the server, so you won't lose any of your data. Okay, now what you do is you download this. I prefer to do this rather than restore directly. I can download this file directly into my desktop. So I'll save it in my desktop or in my browser on my, you can also save it in Google Chrome, in the Google Drive as well. Okay, so I'm going to save it in my folder and save it here. Okay, now I want to restore this back, right, to the, so it will take time to download. And when I want to restore it back, I go back to my course. So this was the course on the Ibtp. So I go to back to Ibtp Roadshow. I just go back. Okay, so it's easier to do it this way. Okay, I come here to my course, which we are doing now. Okay, so this is our course. Okay, and now I want to import it directly here. So then I click here and import. I can import this file directly from the system. Okay, so okay, there are too many courses here. I just go to list. Okay. So now I click on restore. Okay, so because if I go to import, there are too many things turning up. So I don't want to show, we have to go deeper and deeper. So we click on backup first, which we have done earlier for the other course, and I restore it here. So when I restore here, you can see the drag and drop box here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to drag and drop this file into the box. Okay, so and I click on restore. So this sometimes will not take place because I was trying to help my colleagues on the weekend. And if the server is slow, sometimes the restoration process is slow, but we'll see what happens now. Okay, let's look at this course. Okay, e-learning show Ibtp, I can click on it and wait, and it should have restored. If not, we have to. So this is what happens usually. It'll take time for the server to actually restore the file into that course. Okay. So I'll do it again for you. Click on everything is done and continue. Okay. So I'll have to do this slowly and continue. And I have to go to Ibtp. So when you try to do it in online mode, sometimes it's a bit slow. So I'll have the too many courses. Okay. Okay. So I have this course. Nora, can you restore it, because I'm having an issue here. You can restore the course because I'm having the speed of this thing is slow.
Search for the name.
You can restore it, Nora, please.
E-learning roadshow, doctor. The
Yeah, you
course
go
name.
because 1 second, I cannot locate the course here. It's called e-learning roadshow.
Yeah, e-learning roadshow IBTP. E-learning roadshow 2022.
IBTP.
Yeah.
So this is case sensitive, so you have to be careful, as I'll back up into the wrong course. There are no
Not
courses.
down there, doctor. The atas, doctor. Yeah.
Atas?
Yeah, restore as new course. Search
Okay.
e-learning roadshow. A dash e-learning.
E-learning or e-learning roadshow. Okay, so this is case sensitive, so we have to be careful with this. Otherwise, we'll back up into the wrong person's folder. Okay. Oh, there are no courses to show display. Is it case sensitive, Nora?
Yeah, e-learning roadshow with the doctor.
Yeah.
E-learning roadshow IBTP 2022.
So unlike unlike a Google search engine, this will not be, it's case sensitive. So let me see. Cannot find it, Nora.
Existing course, restore as new course.
So we have to be careful when we do this backup, because if we don't back it up properly, we will merge with the wrong course. Okay, so the case sensitive is very important. Nora, can you copy and paste in the chat window?
Not restore, doctor, import, because
Import?
already down. Yeah, you already download the
Okay.
backup.
Okay. Just
Import. And yeah.
I'm trying to back up directly from the system.
Store.
Okay. There are no courses to display, or it says. We'll have to check the 1 second. I check the system 1 second. Okay, so we got it. It's actually everything is in caps. Okay, so this system is sensitive to that. So let's see. So in this one, we include everything. So I'll recall for you. So we just click on the first, you back up your course, the original one, and then you restore it. But make sure that you have copied and pasted that exact content there. So this is actually all in caps. It won't accept the lowercase. Okay, so because I cannot see both the screens. So I go to next, and everything is here, and I just click next and restore it. Import. So now continue, and now the course will be populated with the content. Okay, so the content may come, this may take time, because sometimes that is the issue with the server. Sometimes when you back up and restore, you will take some time to actually restore it before you see it back inside, depending on your content. Now, when you do this kind of backup and restore, certain things you cannot back up and restore. For example, the application files. If some of you are teaching some statistical package and you have used, for example, R, R statistics and you have loaded R statistics into the system and you have executed some files, those one will not be restored. It will only restore the PDF files and the other text content as well as the other related content, but it won't restore any kind of scripts. Okay, that is the issue because some of the lecturers may be using some kind of software and they want to back up the software. That one will not be backed up, that you have to do manually. So let this one do its work. So until now it's not imported, so we just wait for it to do its. So this one you have to be careful because you do it slowly. Okay, so we won't do it. By the time the system restores, I will take some time. So I will go back to my course. Yes, I just try and refresh it. No. Okay, now while waiting for it to restore, let's look at the other options which you can have. In some of the lecturers who have trained multiple students, okay, they have too many students, for example, 100 students and above, they will not like them to register directly in the system. Because what happens, sometimes you're teaching a course for the first year and then the second year students may register and so on and so forth. So this is why you want to reduce that confusion. So what I suggest to you is you have to generate a passkey. Okay, so you can go to users. Okay, so go to your users here. Okay, and you go to enrollment methods. Click here on the enrollment method and you check the enrollment method here and you do self-enrollment. Okay. Now, when you do a self-enrollment, what it essentially means is that the student will be invited to enroll for the course with a specific passkey. So usually you can distribute that. For example, you're teaching only first year students and you don't want the second year students to enroll for the course. You can ask them to do enrollment with passkey. The reason why we are asking you to do this is because based on the input from all the lecturers and across faculties, sometimes students from for example, the first year, they will register for the second year course and they will obtain the question banks. And once they obtain the question bank, they already have the idea of the question papers. So this is why we ask you to instead, so you give your course name, your course code. This one doesn't matter. This is not case sensitive. It's unique to your identifier. So you allow existing enrollments. Yes, if you make it no, it will block existing enrollments. You allow new enrollments. So you just keep it as yes. And on the enrollment key, you have to give a password. So I'm going to give you a password, ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now what this means is that in the morning when you registered for this particular course, you registered straightforward. But for this one, when you register, you'll have to give in whoever comes after you. Now, for example, someone comes into the room and they want to register, they'll have to key in the password here. Okay, so there is a group enrollment key, which you don't activate unless you're assigning groups, and then you do the rest and so on and so forth. You give them a custom message. Thank you for the course, for enrolling for this course and welcome. You can say something, or sometimes lecturers will put up a video here on some kind of a channel, Vimeo or the YouTube, inviting the students and enrolling them for the course. Okay, so that's the end of the enrollment cycle. Now, if you want to only enroll students at a certain time, you can enable these dates, which means that, for instance, you only want to enroll from 3rd March to the 7th March, you set the date. After that, they cannot enroll. They will have to question or they will have to approach you to modify that. So if you need to do this, you can do it. Okay, so once you're done, you have to add the method. Okay, now from henceforth, whoever registers for this course will have to register using the enrollment key. Okay, so I go back to the course. Okay, and go back because it's easier to go back if I refresh. So we can see it's still not restored. Yeah, I refresh. Okay, so restore. Now, when you have a course, you have to create content inside the course. As you know, the basic content is your 1, 7, 3, and 2. The second thing which you need to know is some lecturers will prefer to teach by topic. Some lecturer will prefer to teach by date, depending on you and your CLOs and your course learning outcomes. Lecturers may choose different options. So I click here. So this will be topic 1 and enter. So that will be topic 1 if you choose to teach by topic. Now, in the first box over here, you need to add your course synopsis. So what you do is you add and activate your resource and you click, scroll down. You go to the synopsis. Okay, this is over here. I'll just zoom on it. Okay, I just zoom so you can see it. So this is course synopsis. It's a blue, it's PDF in blue, not PDF in red. Okay, so you click on the course synopsis and you add. I'll zoom out again. Okay, now in the course synopsis, you actually don't write table 4, you actually call it course synopsis. Because sometimes students will wonder what's table 4 and table 4.2. Here you can put up your introduction and you can state your CLOs here. Okay, so you add everything here, you just copy and paste your introduction from the table 4.2. And here, right, you actually drag and drop the PDF file. So I'm going to add the PDF file, which I've created on my desktop. So it is a bit slow because I'm using all network tools. So, okay, open. And this license should be all rights reserved. I just zoom on it. So you just select all rights reserved. Don't make it Creative Commons or public domain. Otherwise, your table 4.2 will be shared in public domain, which means that the student can open it, download it, and then share it. So usually we say all rights reserved. All rights reserved means you own the rights to that, or UMS own the right to the table 4. So I call it course synopsis. Okay, and then I upload this file. Okay, now the course synopsis is here. Now, these are some settings which you need to adjust. Okay, so common module settings is here, restrict access, and you have activity completion. What you need to do is show activity as complete when conditions are met. Now, what this means is that the student will access that course synopsis and they cannot say that they do not know about the course because they've already accessed it and it's tracked by the system. The system will show who has, when you can view the log file, you can actually see who has done it. And this is part of a legal requirement to ensure the student is aware of what they are being taught prior to the commencement of the semester. You can enable it. For example, if you want to only make the course synopsis available in the first week, you can enable it. Now, what students may do sometimes because of connectivity issues, they may share the course synopsis, means someone may download and share. In that case, you cannot track who has downloaded. So usually we put this over here. I will show you how to do a conditional formatting for this, which means that unless the student clicks on the course synopsis, only when they click, then only they can proceed to your course. So I'll show you the conditional formatting. The tag is actually a hashtag. So this one is the one which tracks the, okay, I'll give 1 second. Now this is actually the hashtag. So what this means is that when the student enrolls for the, or enters into the smart system, they can track that using the search window. So they don't have to enter the course, they can search using that particular hashtag. So that makes it easier because sometimes students will be attending, of course, enrolling for multiple courses and then they want to track one synopsis. So they have this tag. Once you have done everything, you save and display. Now the course synopsis is displayed as such as an embedded file. Of course, if you have 4 different files, right? Like this, I'm just showing you one page, which is having the assessment. But if you have everything, you need to save as PDF the entire document, and then you save it and you upload it here as PDF only. You don't upload the Excel worksheet here or a link to Google Drive. Okay, so they should get a hard copy. So you're done with this and you have your course setting. Okay. Okay, so you can see it has still not backed up. You probably have to try this again. Okay, last time I had to try it about 3 times before it actually restored the original course. We won't spend time with that. We'll focus more on the training itself. So the first thing which you have is the course synopsis. Now you want to add an activity or resource. For instance, you want to add a video from YouTube. Okay, so you want to add a YouTube video. I can just go to YouTube and I click on something. Okay, so you look at the funds of video. Okay, I have this. Okay, you have, for example, you're teaching stuff. So like related to this, I'll just click on that. So you click on this. Okay, and then you want to insert this, embed it inside. Of course, the ads will play, forget it. Just share it and you go to embed, copy the embed code, just copy the embed code, and then you can have it in your system. 1 second. Just, okay. Go back to my course and now I can embed the file inside. Okay, so add an activity or resource. You can add a page or URL. If you want the student to access the YouTube video directly, you add URL. So they will click on the video, but they won't have the experience of seeing the video in the same page. So in this case, you want to do it, you have to click on page. Once you click on page, you add, and here you can give a description of the video. So you add your description. Usually lecturers will give a video and they will ask you to, the student to watch the video and reflect on it. So you can click on this and you go to the embed key. Okay, so this is the embed key here. Click on the embed, which is a greater than equal to sign. Click on it, and now you can embed content inside. Okay, now if you embed it without this key, it won't actually turn up in the system. Now the embed, it's embedded inside. Okay, so display description on the course page will enable it to appear on the first page. And again, you have to do it twice. Okay, so because this requires two places. You can embed it in either one, but usually if you embed it here, it will be seen on the first page. Means when the student opens the system, they will see all the videos in one stream. But if you do it here, they will have to click on that respective thing, because this one does not have that button for the view. Okay, now suppose you have the appearance here. You don't change this. Common module settings you don't change, and you can restrict access. Now, this is what I told you about. If you want the student to download the course synopsis before they can watch the video, you have to click here. Add restriction. Okay. So you have to activity completion. Go to activity completion. And then you can say the previous activity. So they can course synopsis and must be marked as complete. Okay. And then you add restriction. Okay. So now this restriction has been added to the course. What this means is that the student cannot view the video unless they complete the course synopsis. And you can try it out for yourself now. You try and click, okay, save and display. Okay, what I want you to do is you will see the course, but you cannot access this in your system unless you click on course synopsis. So you can try it out if you wish to try it out while I'm speaking. You click on the course synopsis, then only you can click here. You try and click directly here, you cannot access it because it has been blocked. Okay, another restriction which you can add and is the restriction by date. Okay, I'll give you an example of that. So the same video, let's see. So I'll just take off. I'm just using the same video as an example. Okay, so I will create again the same page, add, copy here, video. Okay. Click here, open the key here, HTML. Description, display it here as well. And you have your restrict access setting. Now you can add the restriction. For example, if I add the restriction date, I don't want to watch for example, I want to conduct a field trip on the 15th of March. So I want the students to only watch that video on the 14th of March so that they don't remember. So their recall is higher. So you just can set up the date. So you can click on date and then you can see the date from, you can add it here from until student must match the following until 3rd March. Okay, so you have to add the restriction over here. Now the restriction is added. So if you want to add more restrictions, you can add other restrictions as well. Now this becomes very useful when you are just save and display. So let's stay. Okay, now this becomes very useful when you are trying to automate the system. I will demonstrate to you later how the MOOC can be run in the system itself in case you are interested in setting up MOOCs. Okay, with the MOOC, you don't have to monitor the course anymore. You can set up the course in the learning management system because some of the lecturers have done that already. The student comes in, they can click on the first lecture, view the first lecture, and so on and so forth. They cannot jump to the second lecture without the first lecture or without attaining a certain score. So that is an automated feature which is done using the conditional logic and the restrict access settings. I can show this to you after we finish this this part, the first section. Okay, now the next thing which you need to add is your assignment. So you want to add assignment, you add assignment here, you add the assignment name, and then you put in the rubric here. Always put in the description and the rubric, and your display description on the course page. You can add your additional files. For example, you are using the maps or cartographic or images, you can add it here. And then you allow the submissions from, you can give them a date, for example, from 7th to 10th. I'll just keep it open now. And you can set a grading reminder for you. So this one will prompt you in the system when to grade. Okay, so there's an activity limit and a feedback type. Now, usually for the feedback type, we will use the PDF files. So you require the student here. Okay, I'll go through it slowly so that you can see. Usually here, require students to click submission button should be yes. So require students accept the submission statement is yes. Now, what these two things do is that when the student clicks the first time, we usually do this for the exam. The student will receive a message, a pop-up saying, do you want to submit? And then they click yes. Then they proceed to submission. Now, when the student does this, they receive a submission statement. So this is important. Otherwise, the student will not know whether they have submitted the assignment or not. And then they will ask you, have you submitted? Then you have to again check your log file. So that's what you do. Okay, so you don't change any of these and your grade. Okay, now those of you who are doing multiple formative assessments, the summative cannot be captured by the system. The summative is by itself. You can actually do the grading. I will show you how we do it. So, okay, 1 second. I just open up the PDF file. Second. Okay. Give me a second. I open up a PDF file. Stop training. Okay. Okay. So now you can see, I hope you can see this. So you can see this particular course has got a midterm examination, laboratory assessment, laboratory report, and assignments. Okay, in order for you to create a grade book, which means that all the activities which the student do will be tracked in one platform, which is the Smart V3, with the exception of the final exam. The final exam, you can't track it here because it's confidential. So usually we don't put up final examination here. But all of these, you can actually assign a grade for that. So for the midterm examination, we can assign a grade. For the laboratory assessment, laboratory reports and assignments, as well as quiz, you can assign a number. Now, what happens when you complete the entire course after 14 weeks? On the 15th week, you can actually download the grade book. So you don't have to worry about creating the grade book again and again and again. So you don't have to go and check each and every individual assignment and mark. This one has the editing system over here. So for example, see, in this one, I have actually put up a grade for the assessment, which is the assignment, I have put up a grade of 20. So the maximum grade is 20. So once this grade is set, it will show up here. Okay, I can key in the marks, for example, 19 out of 20 or 15 out of 20 and so on and so forth. So for this one, show activity as complete when conditions are met. Okay, so this one you can hashtag it, assignment 1, and then you just click and you save and display. Okay, now the students will be graded based on their assignment. Now what I want you to do, just to demonstrate this to you, I want you to come here on this icon. You click on this icon here. You just submit a blank PDF file. I will show you how it tracks your marks and how, because if you don't do that, I cannot show you how the grading is actually done. So you just click on this and you upload a blank PDF file. Just a single page will be okay. From your PC or your tablet, you can upload here. Okay, while you're uploading, we'll go on to the next one. So, okay, now we come down to the lecture note. So how do you generally upload the lecture notes? Usually we will upload everything. Okay, I will show you how we upload usually. So you add an activity or resource. You will have to click on the file, okay, add, and then I click and a file here. For example, here, I just pull this in, drag and drop here. Okay, so that's your file here. So you have a lecture note, and then you have lecture 1. Okay, so you can give in your introduction here and your CLO here. Usually for the blended learning, it is recommended that every object, like in this case, a lecture, will have a description here, which makes it easier for the student to understand what's following. For this one, activity completion, you can set up this as show activity as complete when conditions are met. Now, suppose you want the students to watch the lectures or read the lecture notes in a pattern, like you want them in a succession. So you watch the video 1, you go to video 2, you watch video 2, you read lecture note 1. If you want to do that, you can restrict access here. Okay, and you can add a restriction. For example, the activity completion. Student cannot view the video unless they watch they complete the assignment. Okay, so they have to watch assignment name, must be marked as complete, and you add restriction. Okay, and you're done. Okay, so if you want to add another restriction, you can add one more here. But usually we add only one restriction. Now what this will do is the student cannot view this lecture unless they complete the assignment. So that will save you the trouble of, and the students' trouble when it comes down to learning outcomes and achieving the learning outcomes. So that's it. So now you can try and do this. So you try and click on assignment now from your terminal and you submit something. You just submit a piece of paper, just a PDF file, and I will show you how to set up the system. What happens is that when you complete your assignment, then only you can go into this section. For now, it will be restricted. You will not see it below you. You will see this and it will be hidden. Okay, you cannot see this part over here. Okay, so you have to wait until it's until you finish this. So if you didn't submit assignment, you cannot move into the next section. So this can be done in cascading format. So that means you cannot do this until you watch this, or you cannot complete this activity until you complete the grade. So sometimes lecturers can set up a grade restriction, which means the student can only move on to the next section when they finish the earlier section and achieve a certain score. Okay, for example, 80 cutoff. So then they cannot move on until the midterm scores 80. Okay, that's about this one. Now, monitoring the students. When you're in the system, you have the ability to monitor content access. So this is very good in tracking students who, for instance, they are lagging behind. So you can actually track their access history. So what you do is, I will zoom again. You come here for reports. Okay, and then you have many types of logs. So this one's live logs, activity reports, these are actually the logs which are in a text-based format. So they are all text. They will come out as an Excel or CSV file. This one over here is analytics graphs. Okay, now suppose I'm delivering a lecture to the students, and I want to see how many students are active in the class by using their click-through rates, CTR. I can actually click here, number of active students. Okay, and this will generate an output for you. So you can see here. Okay, so you have 5 students active in the beginning of the class. Okay, here, and then you can see, and then you have, so this is when you registered at 9 o'clock, when you logged in, and this is when you have your 10. So someone has accessed at this time. Okay. Annotation. Okay, so this is the file. So you can annotate here, or somebody has requested. So you can actually mark this. Okay, so I just turn this off. I have to close this. Okay, so I'm not going to open that up, otherwise it may open up and then may hang. Okay, now at 10 o'clock, there have been about 26 clicks. Okay, so you can see 26 clicks have been done, and you can see who has clicked on the link. Okay, so you can view anything at any given time. Okay, so you have 17 here clicks in the morning, and now you have large number of clicks here. So if you're delivering a lecture and you ask the students download assignment, you can track the click rates inside the click-throughs inside the system. Okay, I just go back. You can also track other access. For example, you can track for reports, and you can look for analytics graphs, and you can check for the assignment submissions. Okay, for example, assignment submissions. Okay, you can see. So now 3 students have submitted assignment, and 2 students are in time. Okay, so I just click here. So thank you for submitting. Thank you. Okay, so we just send email. So you should see an email coming to your mail, just ignore it. So wait for it to, because this is the thing about the system, right? Because it's based on Moodle, which is slower. So you have to wait. It's not like WhatsApp, you just type it in and send and it's gone. This one has to wait. So it'll say message sent to Moodle queue. And the Moodle queue is actually in JTMK. So you will see it coming. So I want to click here. Thank you for submitting your assignment. Thank you for submitting. So if the students have not submitted, you can also say, please submit, or you don't have to keep reminding individuals. Okay, so it sends email. Okay, let it send. It'll do its job. Okay, let it do its stuff. Okay, the message is sent to Moodle queue. Now, what I'm going to show you is the Moodle mobile app. Okay, so this is the Moodle mobile app. You can find it on your device, on your Play, and then the Android. Okay, so you can find this on your app. You can install it on Apple or Android. You just use the same parameters to log in as you do for UMS, and it will configure to the UMS system. If you have problem with configuration, you can ask EP. But what this app will do is that whatever you are teaching in the class, messaging is done through the app, not through your WhatsApp. And then at the end of the year, you can print out everything for your course file. So whatever your interaction you had with your student, you can use Moodle mobile app. Suggested, recommended, and don't use WhatsApp because WhatsApp sometimes you have to back up files and it takes time. So this one is the Moodle mobile app. Just use it because it's very versatile in terms of the applicability. Okay, so now we have submissions. I just go back. Okay, so that's it. So I will look at the submissions. Okay, now I'll refresh this and see how many of you have submitted. Okay, 2 of 5 have submitted and 2 are ungraded. Okay, so I'm just going to show you as an example. You don't have to submit. I just show you the example of how it is. So you have the Juan Lam has submitted and Dr. Ang has submitted. So I'm just going to click on grade. I'm sure you are familiar with this, but how many of you use, Dr. Ang, how many of you all use the gradebook facility inside the system for one-time transfer?
This one, I don't have the information, but I am using the grading here. I will ask my student to submit the assignment, then I will use the grading system here. So at the end of the semester, I can actually get the report of all the grading, all the marks of each of the assignments and quiz. And
oh, that's good. That's good. So
yeah.
you can straight away import them into your course file.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your, so this is, please use that because we asked around and then many people are not aware of the one time. So you can just give a grade and really here. And then this one, right, is notify students. Usually we don't click on the notify students unless you want the student to see the grade immediately, because sometimes, most of the time, the assignment is formative. So you want the student to improve the assignment, so you don't click. So you can give them and please improve and so on and so forth. So this is for improving. Here's some feedback files. Okay, with this system, please do not download PDF files from, for example, Elsevier. You want to ask your student, please reference this. Don't drag and drop the file here because that is a copyright violation unless the article is open access. If it's CC BY, okay. But if it's a copyrighted article which you have published and it's subscription type, don't drag and drop here because that will be a copyright violation. And I don't know, later on, maybe there will be some kind of like implication for that. So after you finish, you just save changes. Okay. Once you save changes, you move on to the next user and you repeat the same process over here. And then you just, okay, so again, you give a mark and then you're done. Okay, so that's what you're done. Now, those of you who are not using, I'm sure that you already are using this, but those of you who are not using, one second, I just go back because it's easier for me to go back with, okay, I just link. Okay, so those of you who are not using it, please access it from here. So this will be this course, and then it's on grades. So grades is here. Okay, and this one you can sort it by the alphabetical order, or you can sort it by the first name or alphabetical order, or you can by surname or the first name. Okay, so you can also sort it by the, later on you can sort it after you download. So you complete your whole years, the 14 weeks. After 14 weeks, you can just go and generate your report from here. You export it. Okay, click here, export. And you can export it as usually we will ask for Excel sheet, or we'll give a CSV file. So you just click Excel spreadsheet. Okay, then it'll ask you, and then you download. Okay, so I just download this. Okay, that makes your life easier because you don't have to keep on doing repetitive tasks for each and everything. So use this as a one-stop center for the entire course, and then you can have your convenience. Okay, so this one is not used. So this requires, this is actually taken care of by the OBE system. So we don't touch the scales. Okay, so we go back to our course. Prefer to use the back key easier. Other sometimes it will hang as I access. Okay, so that's about the grading of the thing. So we have covered the elements which are critical or essential for this. We have the 1, the 7, 3, and 2. Okay, so your assignment will be 2, and then you have the other elements which are the communication element. Now, how do you do the communication part? Actually, Puan Salmi has asked the JTMK to do some things in the system, and one of them is chat. So currently what we are doing, we are using 1732. Is that correct? We use 1732. That's the ministry's requirement for audit. We are going to transition to something known as 40-40-20, and which is sent to the Senate for approval, and other universities, other IPTAs have actually implemented it already. So now what we have to do is we need to show interaction. So there's an element of interaction, which means it can be an interactive video or some activity online, which has to be interactive. So one of them is actually going to be chat. We will announce that to you once we get approval from Senate. We'll give you the new schema. Okay, it's like the 1732, but a little bit more elaborate. So you have to be ready for the content. So this is the chat. Okay, so you add the chat. Now, will you leave the chat open all the time? Obviously, no, you can't have the chat. So usually you can have a chat room. So this is our class 1 chat. Okay? And you give them the instruction for this chat room. For example, it's open only from 0900 to, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. during class. So you give them the date and so on and so forth, but you can set it up here as well. Display description, and you can set up the chat session. So our chat time, for example, is 3. So we open up 10:40. So you can publish it. Yeah. If you want to have a chat every week, you can set it up that way. Okay. So up to you. This is your time. So never delete messages. This is important because you need it for your file later. And everyone can view past sessions. No, because otherwise they'll keep on going back to the, for example, students post links. They will go and then it'll have a crosstalk. So usually we click no on this. And then we have activity completion. Now, activity completion is, okay, you have two options. If you are going to grade the students for chat, for example, every student who posts one chat with some relevance to the topic will get 5 marks. For example, a link to a topic. Then you have to do this. So activity is complete when conditions are met. However, if you're not going to grade them for this chat, you just say students can manually mark the activity as complete, because some students may not want to chat and then they will get some kind of a negative feedback. So just leave it as that. Usually for chat, we do this. So you have expected completion on so and so date and so on and so forth. Really, this is called chat 1. And then you save and display. Okay. Now this is the new thing which has been installed in the system. There are 2 plugins which Juan Salmi has asked the JTMK to install. One is chat and the other one is the choice. Are you all using the chat function? Dr. Ang, you're using chat in the system?
Yes.
Okay. Choice?
No, choice, no, only chat.
Okay. Okay. Do you I think a majority of your students, based on what I have observed, are assigned to groups, right? For your subjects?
No, usually they are individual.
Oh, individual. Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
I will just go to the group function, because sometimes for large projects like Amali, you may have group. Okay. So in this one,
Okay.
you have the groups. You can actually create groups. Okay. So this has people over here. Okay. Let me go down now, because I'm using an admin terminal. So you'll see what I see, right? You will see only when you look at your terminal, you will only see the top part. This one you will not see, because this is from the terminal which I'm using in the PEP. Okay, so you have to go to users, usually here. Okay, and then you click on groups. Can you see the groups here? Group. Okay, you have the group here, and then you can create groups here. Okay, so you can create the group. So you have to assign the group a name. For example, this is called taxonomy. Yeah, 1 second. Wait for a second. It's hang a little bit. Okay, I refresh. Okay, refresh. Okay, so I want to create a group. So what I do is I create group and I call this group taxonomy 101, and then I give it a group ID number. Just give it 1, 2, 3, 4 or a code, and then you given a description, your descriptor, and you have this. You can give it an enrollment key in case you have too many students and you don't want them to cross groups. Okay, and then you can add a picture to that as well. Okay, and you can add a picture here. Picture means just a picture of something in the group. So related to taxonomy. So this is for like a profile pic or DP, and then you save changes. Okay. Okay, it's asked for password 8 character long. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, what's happening? Okay, it's asking for many things. Usually we don't do this. Usually I will do the auto assign group. ABCD underscore 1, 2, 3, 4 underscore. And then we save changes. More. Okay. So it's asking for many stuffs. 1 character, 8 character long, 1 character in lowercase, and so on and so forth. It's okay. We will wait for, I will show you how to do it automatically. So the other option which lecturers will usually do is auto create group, okay, which is here. So you have a group naming scheme. So you can call it group 1. Okay, number of groups will be, you can add a number of group, or you can add a member of numbers. For example, we only have few, right? Because if everyone was here, I can increase this, but few users, so it's okay. So I submit. Now what's happening is that we only have 5 enrolled users, so it has created group A and group B. So if you want to change, you can change these people. So you can remove user and add user. Okay, so you can, for example, I want to remove user. Okay, okay, and then I can add you. I can add a new person to your group. Okay, so I can add. So you can add and remove users based on your discretion. So I'm not going to do it now because there are only 5 of us, and if I add, okay, so you have your 2 groups here. If there's 20, we can add it and change and modify and play around with the groups. But we are only 5, so it's okay. So we look at the other factor, which is here, other element, which is the choice. Now, in some cases, the student may say, oh, we don't want to be part of that group. And then we will say, no, you must be, because we usually try to balance out all the cognitive abilities and we'll spread the groups around. But sometimes students want a choice. So in that case, you click here, add an activity or resource, and there is this choice. Can you see the choice here? This is a button called, I'll just zoom on it, and there is choice here. Okay, add. Okay, zoom out again. So this is called adding a new choice. So you give your choice a name. So choose to join your group. Okay, and then you can list out your group, display description on the course page, and so on and so forth. This is like a e-voting. Okay, so you can display vertically, horizontally. Option 1, give them option 1. So you want to be a member of group 1? Yes. I want to be a member of group 2. And you want to be a member of group 3. Okay. So we have 3 groups. So we have only 5, so I cannot make more. So usually give 3 fields. And then this one is important. You can select the availability. So you enable this. You try and ensure that you don't allow the students to extend too late. Otherwise, what they will do, okay, from 3rd March until, for example, 7th March, okay, 8th of March. Now, you have to enable this function, or else what will happen is the students will change their group after 14 weeks, maybe or 7 weeks. At the 14th week, they say, oh, we want to change the group because the other ones had more marks. So please enable this function here. I'll just zoom on it. You enable the availability. So you give them group 1, group 2, group 3, like voting, but you have a response only 1 at this time. Okay, so you limit the response to 1, yes, and you allow them to vote only 1 time. You need to inform them, so they will choose their group, and so on and so forth. Activity completion is conditions are met. If you don't enable this, the system will not track. It's like a cookie-based system. It will not track the processes going on. So you need to always go down by default and scroll here and click on this. Okay, so this is called a group election. I call it election group. I give it a hashtag and that's it, and save and display. Now you will see this in your system. Okay. Okay. So when you go to class now, of course, we'll be online. So you just ask them to here, choose to join your group, and then you ask. So group 1, group 2, group 3. Okay. So I have set it up, so I will not be able to do it. Okay, so I go back to my. So this is the feature which we have over here. Now, the other features which are in the system, are recommended, but they will involve a lot of effort on the part of the respective lecturers. Okay, for example, we have a big blue button. Big blue button is actually the alternative to Google Meet and WebEx. Okay, unfortunately now it can no longer be recorded. Earlier it was free. As usual, everything which was free is now recordable. This was a very good app. You could install it, run it, and record. Now you cannot. They have stopped. Okay, the other one is the database. So those of you all who have, for example, extensive database, like you want to give them a CSV file, you can actually use the database tool. External tools refers to programs which are being operated outside of the system. For example, some of the lecturers may use an app in a server. Okay, that it becomes an external tool. When the student clicks on that, they will go to the external server and they will calculate, for example, do their statistical analysis in the server. You have the feedback and forum. This you all are familiar with. If you need me to go through this, you want me to cover it, or you are familiar with this? Dr. Ang, you want me to cover the feedback and forum?
Yes, maybe. Yeah, because
okay. So I will cover this because, okay, so I will cover the feedback and forum again. Glossary is a good tool and you need to build it up. That's why you can build up glossary, because you will be a lecturer at UMS for many years. And then you can build up your glossary as your career builds up. So if you're a young lecturer, you can build up your glossary of all the terms in your subject, and the glossary itself is a very good tool. Okay, glossary means you develop a database with descriptors. So that's the glossary. You have group self-selection, which can also be used to select groups. You have interactive content, which is the H5P. This one also is no longer free, okay, because this has been recently, just about 2 months or 3 months ago, it's no longer available. H5P was allowing you to develop interactive videos. Of course, we have other tools for that, but this was the interactive video. We have lesson, quiz, SCORM package, survey, and wiki. Now, SCORM package is a type of a tool which allows you to teach across LMS systems. For example, you have a SCORM package developed in Japan. Okay, you can install that SCORM package here. What a SCORM package is, it's like a small course within your course. So if you're collaborating with other universities, you can use SCORM, because SCORM has a preset parameters. But for SCORM, you need to have a special software for generating the SCORM package. Okay, that will be a very good tool. But SCORM is that. You have survey and synopsis. So survey is a questionnaire survey. Usually we use Google Meet for surveys, but you have a survey tool as well. Usually these are not used by lecturers much. The most widely used tool is quiz, and it has a lot of the, like how do you say this, lag time. Okay, so quizzes are difficult to do if the students are off campus, because the time of the server and the time of the respective device which the student is using will be different. Okay, so they will, if you give them 10 minutes to answer one question and they are logged in from Kampung and the bandwidth is slow, when they try to click on submit the answer, it may run forward. Okay, so that's some of the issues which students may face when you do the quiz. Okay, let's look at the feedback. So if I want to insert feedback, you add the feedback and then you give feedback for the course. You give them a feedback for lecture 1. Okay, so then you give your description for your feedback. The feedback may be in the form of a link, maybe also in the form of other, maybe an image file or a description of an image or a file upload. And then you give it an availability. Usually this has to be enabled. So for example, 3 to 7, or else you will end up keeping on checking for feedbacks. Okay. Question and submission settings is you have to record the user's name because you're grading them. And usually for feedback, we allow single submission, notify, and auto number the question. So we have a link record of everything we do. After submission, show analysis, yeah, and completion message will be to the student. Thank you for submitting your feedback. Usually a standard message, or else after you can give them a message link to something else. Okay, show on course page. We don't add restriction usually. Activity as completion. This again only if the student is required to be marked for the feedback. Call it feedback 1. Okay. Some lecturers will ask, what is this competency? This is actually linked to the OB because now the OB takes care of this. So we don't confuse. So we don't want to add competency here. So this will relate to the affective, psychomotor, and the cognitive. So we don't add. So we need to program this and then more work. So just use the OB for this. Save and display. Okay. Now, once you generate a feedback, it will need a question. You can't create a feedback, so you have to edit a question, put up a question there. So usually we will give them text answer in feedback, okay, or an MCQ. So you can give them an answer. For example, what is the basis for something? Just something. So you'll have a label and you save question. So now this question will be seen in your. Okay, you'll see the question here. So feedback for lecture 1. If you click, you will see answer the question, and then you can key in the thing. So it will just say, just click and submit your answer. So it will just submit content. Okay, so let's submit it. Continue. Go back to the course. So this is the feedback system. In the blended learning systems, if you are basically trained by a blended learning instructor, they will say always put one feedback for every lecture module, because that is allowing the students the room to how to interact with the lecture. So you need to have feedback or chat for each section. Of course, with everyone, it will definitely increase the load in terms of accessing the content and reviewing it and so on and so forth. Okay, so the other one is actually the forum. You can add a forum and create a forum post. Discuss, for example, global warming, change. Okay, you can set up a forum to discuss, for example, climate change, give them a description. And this is a standard forum for general use. Or you can have each person post one discussion. For example, you tell the student, post one statement, one synopsis on climate change, how climate change affects species. You can have them, each person post one discussion. And then you have the word count. Usually this one we don't touch. And we have subscription and tracking. We don't do this either. Subscription and track actually means that another student can view what the other one posted. So each forum becomes a subscription tracking system. So for example, I post and some other student is there in the course who's interested in that topic. They will view that post. It will come as a notification in their system. Discussion locking, we don't lock. We don't do locking, and the rest is grade. Now, suppose you're giving it a grade, you have to categorize the grade, but you need to give this grade in the original setting. So you need to set up the grade for this. So you have ratings and you have a restriction. Okay, so you can give rating for them. For example, you want to award students who give good discussions, you can give them a rating or a grade. Okay, so you can give them a rating there, point rating or a skill. So that one will ask you, student posts, he or she writes something which is very interesting, you can give them a point rating. And then here you select your grade. For example, if your discussion you have limited to 10 marks in your overall assessment, set up the 10 marks here. So when you get your overall assessment, this will be recorded as 10 marks out of 100. This is the one which you need to set up. Okay, the rest is same by default. Conditions are met and so on and so forth. And tag will be forum 1. Forum change. And then you're done. Okay, save and display. Okay, now you can see the course. I just go back to, you can see we have all the elements inside the forum, discussion, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the interesting things which this course has, and if you are doing research, for example, you're teaching students research writing, is the wiki. Okay, the wiki actually allows you to edit content and create a document like Wikipedia, a document with references and links. This is important or relevant to lecturers who do, for example, teaching research writing. So you have an activity or research you add, and you have here wiki. This will create a Wikipedia post. Okay, so the wiki is called, for example, you call it, for example, the primates. You want to have a discussion on primates. So in this, you put up your description here, and you can also add pictures and tags. You can also add videos here. Clicking on this link, just as I showed you, you can embed video here. In display description here, it's a collaborative wiki between students or individual wiki. For example, if you're giving students individual wikis, each student will create his or her own wiki. Usually we use collaborative wiki. Okay, the format will be HTML. Okay, don't select the other format because they are not commonly used. By default, the format is HTML. It's hypertext markup language. Then you have the common module settings, restrict access, and activity completion. So if you are going to give them marks, you need to set up this. Okay, save and display. Now what will happen is that a wiki is created. Okay, so you have your wiki here. Now, in this wiki, you will see it in the system. Any one of you can click, you can just click on your wiki. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. You come here and you click on the wiki here. Okay, I'm just going to turn off my editing. So you click on the primates of Sabah. Okay, and now you view it and you want to edit. Okay, so you can put in here primates, the common primates of Sabah. And then anyone else can continue from here, and then you can add a reference here. Okay, so you can put something in here. Okay, so you add a reference here. So, for example, ABC et al. P1. Okay, so you can add this over here. Okay, so you can add the next person. You can try it. Any of you all can go in now, and you can add. You can also add pictures to this and hypertext. Okay, you can mark here, for example, and you can add a link to that publication. So this is like Wikipedia. So students should be encouraged to create Wikipedia because this is their own content. Okay. So you can see Dr. Ang is editing now. So I'll give you time to edit. You just put something inside. A link, hypertext, anything. 1 second. So I will just find a paper. Scholar. Yeah, Prof. Henry is there. So I'll find Prof. Henry's paper on primates. Henry. And then Sabah. Yeah. So we have Prof. Henry. So I can find a paper from him. Okay, and then I will copy and paste the hyperlink here. Okay, so I can click on this link. Okay, and I copy this link. And I can hyperlink it back to my page. Okay, so here and hyperlink URL. Okay, so you create link. Second, Control C. Okay, create link. Okay, now you can see the Wikipedia entry, and then I save it. Okay, so you can see the link is here and the article is here. So this is similar to teaching your students how to write a publication. It's a very good tool to train students to publish and write. Okay, so you can edit it. So someone is editing, you can try and edit. You can also make comments on it. Like I will say, Dr. Ang, please include something. Please include a citation on some species. So you just, and you say changes. So that will be a comment. Okay. So you have a history. So now what happens is that as you change it, you can actually see the history. You can map it to the respective student, contributor, C. So I've contributed, you can see my contribution. If any of you contribute, you can actually see it over here. And then you can generate a file and you can actually link it out to the internet. This wiki can actually be published, for example, in a blog post online. So this is a very versatile tool which students can use to develop their thinking abilities for the content creation. Okay, I just check if anyone is editing, I just check. So I don't go forward. Okay. Okay. To access. So, okay, see, I can see who accesses what. So you can actually see in the class, for example, at the end of 14 weeks, or even this is a real-time view. Wait for it to build a graph. As with all other kinds of systems in our server, this takes time. Okay, but this is basically the graph which I showed you earlier. It's taking time. So you come here to this section, reports, analytics graph, and you can check content access here and number of active students. Okay, so I just click on this and it shows, for example, 11 o'clock, 39 clicks, and there are 10 clicks at 11 o'clock. Okay, so I can check the click-through rate at any given time in the posts. Okay, Dr. Ang, can we move on to the, you have questions related to, because I have covered up all the elements in this particular system. Do you have any questions related to the system itself? Any difficulties or challenges?
Yeah, I have maybe two.
Yeah, sure. Please state.
One is about the quiz question bank. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on it.
Okay.
And then second one is like, let's say if the penyeranas for FYP, usually they need to assign the examiners to the student, right? So every time they have to assign one by one. Is there any way to faster this process?
Okay, I'll answer the second one first because that is the more easy one to do. What you do is, right,
Okay.
you have examiners for your course, right? Examiners for the thesis, right?
Yes.
So
For
you
each
have
different students.
Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to do this. So okay, let's assume that this is a assignment. Like usually we have topic 1 and topic 2, right?
Yes, correct.
Topic 1 will be the first three, introduction, literature review until material method, right? Is that correct? The same way
Yeah.
you follow? And then the
Yes.
second one will be result and discussion. So, okay, let's see how we would do it here and how it makes it easier. Okay, what you do is here, right? You assign them from here. You take a sub day and you add an activity or resource. What you have to do is assignment. Add assignment. Now, the assignment, right, will be what? For example, this is topic 1. Every student will have to register for this particular course. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do. All the students have to register and they have to upload the assignment here as topic 1. So here you have to give them their rules, criteria, etc. So you give them the rules, the criteria, the cutoff dates, the marks, etc. Everything you have to put here. So once they have this ready, the display description, and you open it up for submission. So you open it up for submission from so and so date to so and so date. Now, once they have all submitted, right? Because you're not going to do groups. Okay, save and display. Okay. Okay, now assuming I'm a student, I will come to your to this particular date or topic head. So this is where you submit your thesis assignment. Let's call it a thesis 1. Just call it because it's thesis 1. So I come here. So now I submit. So all the students have submitted. The final year students submit here. Now you want to assign lecturer. So what you need to do, whoever is the examiner, you need to add them as teacher. So you need to add these people as teachers. So you just go to the regular system. You add people to the course. You add the people one by one and you assign them as teachers. But you need to give them the list of the grading because they will be able to access everything. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Usually
Understood.
you have one examiner per thesis or 2 examiner per thesis.
2 examiners per thesis.
Okay, so in that case, you have to split the marks. You need to give them an instruction here. So when they see this one, right? Okay, so this one, you need to add them. So you add them as teacher. Tell them all to register for the course and give them the teacher privilege. Okay, so they will all become teachers. So this will become teacher students. You can convert them to teacher by clicking on the link and assigning them the privilege as a teacher. Okay, so everyone will be a teacher except the students to submit. So once you go to your this one, so for this one, okay. For this one, right, when you go to your, this is how we do it over here. So this one, we give instruction here. I will give you this one. So I'll go here.
So this one, can we do it by ourselves, or I need to inform Nora to help?
You need to inform Nora to get, you need to inform Nora, otherwise you cannot do it yourself.
I see, okay.
But you can add, because once you edit as the Penelaras, you can add others.
All right.
Yeah, because this, right, will be, actually that's the correct way to do it, because if you have a course code, right, the course code will be tracked in the system. So again, here, right, you'll have another issue which comes up later, Dr. This is based on other experience with people. They will have to have the 1732 for this as well.
Oh.
Or else it will fail. Now, how we do that is very simple. What we do is we put the one will be the synopsis, which will be your table 4. That's easy. The 7 will be small, bahan, like it can be links or something, right? 7, and then the 3 will be just put chat or forum, and then the 2 will be your assignment 1 and assignment 2. Okay.
Okay.
So that's how you bypass it, because the Lathian industry lecturers and the final year project, they both asked us this question last time. So this is the solution which we give to them. Put some bahan inside, some 7. It can be 7, for example, the Garis Panduan one, then something else. Just put some content inside so it meets that criteria. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the way you solve it. Do you have, are they separate topics, means separate courses, 1 and 2?
You mean for the thesis?
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, separate.
Different course code?
Yes, different code, course code.
Okay. For the bahan, right, what you can do, okay, suppose you have problem with creating the 732, right? What you do is this, you add like this, add an activity or resource. You can add links here, URL, for example, add the link here. For example, you can add a link to statistical writing or something, a statistical experimental design or interpreting statistical data. You can just get a video or a URL and you can add that 7 here. It's easier for you to do it. Or if you give Taklimat, you can add the video here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how you solve it. Is it clear how you resolve the problem?
But still, let's say if assign them as teacher already, then they have to click into the smart UMS by themselves to assign themselves as examiner, right?
You mean the examiner? No, you'll have to inform them and give them that, I told you that enrolled user, that click, that how to give them the user, I show you, huh?
Yeah.
The people, right, the users. You can do it yourself directly. For example, if you decided to enroll the lecturers, you can add them by name because you're the Penelaras. So, or you can ask them to self-enroll, but you have to give them clear instruction that you will, for example, see, suppose your topic 1, like the first three chapter, the marks for examiner are 10 and 10. 10 for examiner 1, 10 for examiner 2. You have to tell them that don't exceed that 10 for examiner 1 and 10 for examiner 2. So when you do the overall marking, you can get the code, the data out as out of 20, for example, 10 plus 10 out of 20, you can get the data set. Okay.
The only concern is, let's say if they have the role as teacher, so they can access all the students, right?
Yeah, that is the thing, because they will all be in the same group, the same set of the thing. Or you can assign them by group. For example, you can make group, right? Group of the students who you assign to lecturer 1, just using that group approach. So they can only see that group 1.
Okay.
You okay for this one, right? You contact me later and I will help you to do it.
No, I can understand. So just assign group.
Contact us, we'll help you to do it, because there are certain things which, some settings which you may need for giving separate marks for separate lecture and assuming only certain lecturer can see certain things. Okay. So you contact us and we will do step-by-step resolution of the problem. Okay, Doctor. So I will go back to the next one. Okay, the next one was the question bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really go down and then you can go to the question bank. 1 second. Okay, go down here, the bottom here, and then you'll see question bank here. Okay, now you have to create a question bank. I will go through this step by step and hopefully it doesn't hang. Okay, so okay, default question and okay, so you go to question bank, you create a new question. Okay, now this is again one of the lecturers asked about this. Can we use certain other things inside, like formula, mathematical formula, and so on inside the question? The answer is no. You cannot use mathematical formulas inside. The student will have to calculate that independently, and then they will have to come to that answer. You can't display a mathematical formula in, for example, in latex text. You can't display it over here. Okay, so this one gives you the choices. I just zoom up, so it's easy for you. Okay, we have MCQ. True, false, matching, short answer, numerical, essay, calculated, and so on and so forth. Drag and drop image and so on. There are many choices over here. The only limitation with the system is the network speed. Okay, so let's see, suppose you want to give a MCQ. Okay, just click. Okay, add and straightforward. Okay, so this is where the lecturers have to spend a lot of time. So this is MCQ1. So you have to create the question text. This takes time because you can import it using a format, specific format, but if you have to create it using this one. So you need to, what is ethanol, okay, of ethanol. For example, you give them the term, and then you have to give syntax. Okay, general feedback is question 1, and general feedback will be thank you for answering. So you need to fill this up all over again and again and again. So to create a question bank in this system is a little bit tedious, but we do it, so it's okay. One answer only means the student can only answer once and then they will be blocked from answering again. So numerical choice A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. This one is default. Usually it's easy to do this. Doesn't have much. So the choice one will be, for example, will be 100 degrees, 100 C. This will be 150 C. This will be, for example, 55 C, and this will be 80 C. Okay, you can add a lot of choices, but okay. Now, for this one, right, what you need to do is it has multiple options. For example, if the boiling point of alcohol is 80 C, you can actually give it a number for that. So if it's 80 C, you get 100 marks. Okay, if it's 150 C, you can actually give it none, 0. They get 0. Okay, and this one and so forth. So this one will get none, and this will get correct. Will get that much. So this one you don't have to worry about that. Just leave it as it is. So once you finish the comment feedback, your answer is correct. This is already set by default. Multiple tries you can set, and you can set a penalty for each multiple try. For example, student answered the first time, they get a penalty, but usually we don't do this. And you can save changes. Okay. Okay. Now this question is created over here. Okay. Just for the sake of the training, right? I will add another question. So I create new question, and I add true false. Add. Okay.
That means have to create the question one by one, right?
Yes, that's why the lecturers now shift. Okay, so I just put, I don't know, I just put something randomly. With mangroves. Okay, so this will be the proboscis monkeys. You just you need to add this to each and every one. Okay, just make this proboscis monkeys and then you add. Default mark is 1. General feedback. Thank you. That is correct. And then you'll have to change this to proboscis monkeys are in the mangroves, so you'll have to change it to true, and the other one will be false. Okay, so if it's false, so you need to set this. So this is your answer. This is the default true, and that's the true. If the answer is false, you can set the default false true here, and then you can give it the rest. Okay, so give them a hint. What is something, you give them the hint that is incorrect, or you can put a link. Now this one, the good thing about this is you can add pictures over here. You can add a picture here. You can add image file. You can browse and add an image. For example, if you are saying identify this kind of bird, then you can add the picture of the bird, and you can also describe the image for someone who cannot see this. Now this is, the system has been designed for those who are visually challenged. Okay, so it's inclusive system. So, okay, so let's just do this by default. No multiple try, save changes. Now you have two questions here. Okay, so you have two questions here. Are you using this frequently to create quiz?
Sorry, come again.
Doctor? You're using all the time?
No, I'm thinking to maybe use it.
Or you are all your students in asrama on campus, or are they in the kampung?
Some of them in the campus and some of them still in the kampung.
Okay, based on the experience with this particular module, this particular thing, right? Most of those who are in the kampung will have problem accessing, means time lag. So add an activity or resource, and then you can add your quiz here. Okay, quiz, add. Okay, now you have to give the name a quiz. So this is a quiz on quiz general, like just call it general. Give a description here. In the description, you put in all your rules and regulations, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then you display description on the course page. This is the critical one, timing. Okay, so you have to enable the timing here. And this is the one you have to be careful with. This is the one which causes all the problems. Okay, suppose I open the quiz, for example, at 11:45. So suppose I open at 11:40 and then I close at, for example, at 13:40. Okay. Now by right, means if we are trying to help the student to accessing the system, we need to give them a big space. But the problem with giving a big space, for example, if you have 50 questions, somebody can easily share the answers and questions if they are together. So this is the one which creates a problem, because by right, it should be open. It should be kept for open until they complete. So there are some things. So this one you have to play around with and figure out how they are actually scoring. Okay, usually the system, right? Because if you have 100 questions in the question bank and you only give 10, you can actually mix and match. It will randomly assort the questions. Okay, now this is the grade where we set up. So you categorize.
So the system will automatically randomly
randomize.
Okay.
Randomize. So 10 is the grade to pass, attempts allowed. Usually one attempt. This one you don't change. Okay, so you say this one you don't change this layout. Okay, this is layout is the another issue which comes up. Okay, now layout means when the student loads the page, right, the quiz page, the first time, they will see all the 10 questions in one page if there are 10 questions. So if you select every question on different page, it's good because the student doesn't get confused. But the problem is bandwidth again. So usually you select, usually if you have 10 questions, you can select 5 for one page. Okay, so the student loads one time, answers, and then they click send, and then the next one you load. So you have 5 and 5. But the problem is the student will get confused because they see 5 things in one go and creates cognitive load. But so what you do, we have to, usually by ideally it should be this. One question for one page, every question one page. Okay. Then you have the question behavior. So it can be a shuffle. Yes, this is the shuffle feedback which means that the question will shuffle and the system is going on. So all the students won't see the same. Now this one is deferred feedback. Suppose some lecturer don't want the student to see the answer or the feedback immediately. It's called deferred feedback. Okay, then we have review options. So this will be a lot of parameters. Don't change the default. The appearance will be show the user's image, so small image, and extra restrictions on attempts. So you need to give a password. If you want to create a restriction, okay, suppose you want to ask the student, okay, the first attempt, you will get so much marks. Second attempt, you will get a penalty of maybe 10%, and you can give them a code. The overall feedback will be, thank you for completing the course. So this means if you got, for example, you got a grade boundary of, for example, 50 marks. And this one, you can set up a grade boundary. 100% is excellent, okay? Please try again. Please review your syllabus. Sorry, HTML code. Okay, so you have to, then you can add more feedback. Suppose you want to give a feedback for 75%, you can add all this. So you just add, okay, you can add more and more. So it's okay. This one is understood. So you can add or add more feedback. Okay, common module setting is shown on course page. Group mode, of course, no group. restrict access, you can actually add a restriction so that they don't take the quiz until they watch the video. For example, activity completion will be by default. When conditions are met, the tag will be quiz 1. Okay, so everything finished? Save and display. Okay. So now your quiz is ready. 1 minute. Now I have to import the question. Okay, wait. Something has gone wrong. 0 to 100. Let's make this. Yeah, I won't set this. Just delete this because I opened too many, so it's creating a restriction. Okay. Display. Okay. Now the quiz has been created, but the quiz doesn't have any questions. So what you do, you have to import the questions from the question bank. Okay. So what you do is you can edit quiz. Okay. And then you can add the question. Okay. So 1 second. Hopefully add. Okay. From a question bank. And then you add question 1. Okay. Okay, so you have 2 questions in the quiz. Okay, so repagination means you change the page, what I told you, the 1 page question per page, or so on and so forth. Once you're done, you can add another question if you want to, or you can save. So you can add a random question as well. For example, you had 39 questions, and then you feel that there's a 40th question, you can add it directly without going to the question bank and save it in the question bank. Okay, and then you save. Okay, save, and you go back to the quiz, the date, and you can see the quiz here. Okay, here, we edit the quiz here. So turn editing off, and we can see the quiz here. Okay, here you can see the quiz general here. So you can take the quiz and attempts allowed 1, back to the course, and you take the quiz. So I cannot see it because I'm the lecturer, but I'm assigned as the lecturer, but you can click on it and see how it works. Is it clear now, Dr. Young?
Yes, I'm clear now.
So this quiz is only available until Thursday, 3rd March, 11:40 a.m. So which means you can only view it after 11:40 a.m. But 1 second, I change it so you can see it earlier. Okay,
so the only thing is we need to build the question bank 1 by 1. After that, then it will be easy for the rest.
Yeah. But usually, if it's the question bank is built, sometimes it's shared, and then becomes issue. So then that also is the problem. So you see on the timing. So I open it to everyone. So I open it at 10:40. Save. Now you can access. Attempt quiz now. You can see. So it'll show you 1 question for 1 page. So 1, next page. Finish. And then it shows you the answer. So submit and finish. This is the important thing. They have to click on submit finish. You need to inform them. So after they submit finish, they will see the answer. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully that one solves. But you be treated with caution because usually what we used to do before the pandemic, we used to invite everybody in the computer lab in the library and do all the quiz there. Like it was like a proctoring, right? Proctored quiz.
Yes. I think for me, no questions. Maybe how about the rest? Very thank you, Dr. Kenneth.
Okay. So we'll go to the next one, OER.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a synopsis of everything. Actually, if you want to do a complete blended learning course, it takes 5 days from setting up it takes around 5 days to set up the entire system. Okay, so if we used to do that in the face-to-face environment earlier. I think Dr. Liu also was there training last time. Okay, I will show you this one. Now we have to go to the OER UML. Okay. Now those of you who have not registered, right, in OER, that's why we have the roadshow. Because in one go, right, we register everybody in the system. This is the OER repository. Okay, you may be aware of it. And I think Dr. Liu and Prof. Charles have posted a lot of stuff here. So if you see your repository, right? You will see ITVC. Okay, so you can see here. So there are all your submissions there here. Bonensis, it has been there from 2007, many years ago. And here Dr. Liu has submitted thesis and thesis. Now, what is this repository and how do you actually work with it? The repository is actually an open access repository. Okay? As you know, we have two types of publication. One is the peer reviewed and non-peer reviewed. So a repository is an open access content housing facility. It's just a server which stores information. The thing about our repository is it's linked to something here known as DSpace. Okay, I'll show you this. This is the DSpace link over here. Now, DSpace is a search engine like Google. So whenever you host anything on repository, it's automatically connected to everything else in a search. For example, you searched, you search for Liu Thor Seng or you search for KENNETH, what this name here, you will find that it will link back to here. So it's a good way to publicize your research and your publication. So how you do it is, are you registered already at the repository, Dr. Ang?
Not yet.
Okay, so this is why we have the roadshow actually to encourage people to register. So to register here, you need to click on this button. Okay, and because the system is actually, how do you say, it is open to the rest of the world. We don't use the UMS user ID and password. Okay, we use your unique UMS email, but your password will be different in the system. That's one thing you need to take care of. Okay, now what you need to do, you can type your name here. You type your UMS email and you register now. So once you register, the registration process is manual and Nora will assign you a specific, function as a depositor. Without that, you cannot deposit in the repository. Nora, are you there? Or Zul, you are there?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
Wait for the registration.
Okay.
Dr. Can you ask them to register in the WhatsApp or something group? Because maybe, so Nora will register you straight on. Otherwise, go and then. Okay, so
I try to key in my email here, and then when I click register, it shows the specific URL cannot be found.
oer.ums.edu.my.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can you refresh it? Because sometimes it takes refresh.
Right.
I will give you the link. 1 second. 1 minute.
Do the same. The specific URL cannot be found.
Oh, yeah. One second. I give you the link again. 1 second. Right. I share in the chat. Okay. Can you see in the chat?
Yes.
Okay. Try and use that link.
No, still the same.
Still the same?
Yeah, the specified
Right.
URL cannot be found.
Where are you, Dr. Ang, in Ibtp on the UMS network?
No, the external.
Oh, actually should be found. What about the normal oer.ums.edu.my? Can you find it? 1 minute, I give you this one. Can you find this URL?
Let me
Copy
see.
and paste this one.
Yeah, this is the same, right?
Yeah. No, this is without the register word at the end.
Yeah, without the register word can. I mean, you can go to the home page, but when I try to register, then I key in the email address. I click on the register button. It came out the specified URL cannot be found.
Okay, you click here. Try and click now. Here, register. Click. What do you see? Nothing. It comes like a purple color square. Is it showing like a box there on your screen?
No, actually, like what you are showing now. And then when I key in my email address, then when I click on the register, then it shows the specific URL cannot be found.
Okay, that's very strange. Let's try. Oh, Ken actually got here. It shows this one. It's showing like this.
Yeah, I cannot. not
Okay,
the
like
same.
this. Can you copy and paste your email in the link I think maybe on a different network, but it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
Can you copy and paste your email in the link and send to me the email? Okay, I copy. Second, maybe your network. It's a network issue. Probably. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
I think because of the network,
mm,
I think registration they have limited to doing inside UMS or something like that.
okay.
So you ask your other colleagues to also register if they are there. You can ask them to register in the chat or type your email in the chat. I'll help you to register. All right, you can assign him the Dr. Ang the title.
I cannot.
Cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do it. Nora will do it for you. I've already sent to her.
Mm-mm.
She will create profile for you. Then you can log in. You can go here and log in with your password and user ID.
Doctor, maybe also because of WAF.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're in the UMS or in
In
UMS what?
UMS, doctor.
Oh, web application firewall. Oh, okay, okay. Cannot access the account.
I already contact JTMK. They said try again in 2-3 minutes.
Okay, okay, okay. So when waiting for them, right, I will show you how to actually use this. So what we do is we sign in. Okay, now I register at the UMS. So you will see here collections, lot of stuff here. This is actually from the collection from each faculty and PUSAT and everything else. So each one has their own repository. You can only deposit in your own repository. You can't deposit in other faculties' repository by default. Okay, to deposit in, for example, you're sharing with FSSA and you want to deposit in FSSA, you have to ask the lecturer who's in charge to deposit your content there. Okay, so how we do it, the submission is here. Look here, logout profile submission. You click here. Okay, now these are the various submissions which I have made earlier. This is mostly demo for y'all. And when you want to start your submission, you go here. Click here, start another submission. Click here. Okay, and you need a collection. Now, because I'm using an admin terminal, it will open everything for me. But if you're using it, you will only see your respective particular link there. So you'll see Ibtp here. So you'll see. So now I want to attach a lecture, which I have here. Okay, I just attach it there. So I click here as eNote. Okay, this is lecture note. Next. So I write my name. For example, this is just a demo. So don't the thing is don't once you deposit, you cannot remove it. Okay, so make sure that your content is not copyrighted. So you cannot deposit copyrighted content here, like journal from subscription, you cannot deposit here. Okay. Okay, so I just add top issue. I just show you so quickly so I can guide you through the process later. So today is 03 March. Then you don't have publisher, etc., etc. And then the content is actually maybe it's a lecture note. Edit as a presentation. Okay, so I add as presentation lecture note. Oh, usually lecture in PowerPoint we will add as presentation file. English default and next. Okay. Here you have to add your keywords. So this is the MOOC tutorial. And then I just add some content. So this is your following lecture is free for download. This is what people will see. Sponsors, if they have FRGS grant, you can add here description, ebook, YouTube link. Because in this system, you cannot add videos. Okay, so if you have a video, you need to put it in Vimeo or YouTube, and you should link it here and make sure that your video is available publicly. Means private videos cannot be published here. Okay, next. And then you choose file. Then I will add the file from here. Okay, so this is the PDF file. I'll go to my desktop. Stop. Okay. Stop training. Okay. I have some file here. Okay, so this is his book, I think here. Now remember that when you have the file right here in the system, for example, if I reloaded Dr. Liu's file, for instance, right, then I have to cite him as the original source. Like I can take Dr. Liu's file, modify some pictures, extract some pictures, but I have to cite him as the original source. That's very important with this OER, because many of the authors, they have published all the content free for reuse. So that's important, the spirit of sharing it. Okay, so this is the lecture note. So anyone can reuse this file. And next, everything is done. It asks you to check next, and it will ask you for submit, license, terms and condition, and complete submission. Now, once you complete the submission, this particular the e-note is visible to everybody. See, you can see it here now. So what did I deposit just now? Okay, here it is. So 22. So you can see the lecture note here. Okay, so this will be the lecture notes. They are free. Now, once it's over here, right? Anyone in the world can reuse it. So they can download it, they can copy and paste and reuse, but they have to cite the original author, which is UMS, and the content creator, which is the respective depositor. So they'll have to cite me. Okay, so use this system because one of the KPI of the e-learning is to actually achieve the content in the repository. And this is actually also linked to our ELNPT. Okay, Dr. Anand?
Okay.
So this is linked to our ELNPT. So once you deposit content here, you actually have to go and insert the link into the PPI system, SMPPI, as publication, as non-index publication. Then it is going to be verified and so on and so forth, then turns up in your ELNPT.
All right.
So this ones all carry some kind of weightage for the, like for example, MOOC carries, I think 1.1, equivalent to 1.1 publication, index publication. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else we can help you with?
No. So far, no.
Any comment from the other our colleagues? Okay, so there's one more thing which I need to tell you about, which is the MOOC thing. You know, the MOOC. Wait, I want to open this. Okay, for the MOOC thing, right, what we have to do, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see the file very small. 1 minute, I stop sharing. Okay. Another thing which we have to discuss, right, is the MOOC thing. The MOOC thing is actually related to the development of MOOC by respective faculties. If you may be aware, right, last time they had asked the Center for E-Learning, we had asked you to submit the names of 3 MOOCs from your respective faculty. Okay, so you need to assign lecturers to develop the MOOC. The training will be done by us, but we need the names of 3 lecturers to do the MOCs. Okay, that is one of UMS's KRAs. Okay. So if there are other questions I can take now, I'm here online.
Dr. Kenneth, can I get the recording, the recorded video? Maybe I can share with them.
Yeah. It's recording. She's recording it now. They will usually record it and they will edit also and give you, but it's okay. We can give you the raw file. It's in WebEx, right? We can just give you the link to the WebEx video. Okay.
Okay.
So you'll have a lot of potential for the OER repositories because you have a lot of content, right? So you can actually deposit in the repository, the nature, all the conservation biology, the taxonomy, everything. You can use the OER for your repositories.
Okay.
Okay. Any other thing you want to ask?
So far, no.
So your MOOC training, right? We will be waiting for your names of lecturer, and then we organize MOOC training from all the faculty for lecturers.
Okay, so I will need to suggest the 3 names,
You need
right?
to suggest in consultation with your Pengara and the Timbalan academic.
All right.
Okay. So if there are no questions, we will end the session now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Kenneth,
So thank
for
you.
the
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Ang, for inviting us over. So this is a refresher. So many of the lecturers already know, we just refresh. So the new lecturers actually learn about the system itself, okay, the functionality. So please
Yeah,
use the
because
system. And if there is any problem, please contact Nora. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
because there
Dr.
are a few new lecturers came in, so I think this is very helpful for them.
Yeah. We need to teach them actually a separate lecturer for the separate, sorry, session for them.
If they need the
Uh, it's covered in PNP, you know, it's covered in PNP, but not in detail. Because PNP will cover it in one day and mostly pedagogy. So we will focus more on the technology. Okay.
all right.
Thank you, Dr. Jaya. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Luisa.